that. In room clear. Please take the car. Benfield, I'm arrested on suspicion of the murder of Peter Farquhar, the murder of Anne Martin.
Benfield is the most extraordinary person I've come across in years of reporting and writing about crime.
I'm Benjamin Lukefield.
Benjamin has made a statement. I, Benjamin Field, did not murder Anne Martin.
Very unusual for a young man in his early 20s to be having sex with a woman aged 81.
We were investigating a double murder for financial gain.
I did not murder Peter Farquhar.
Ben thought he could beat the system. What we needed was the smoking gun. Maze Morton, it is a very picturesque, very sleepy village. A fair few people in the village attended church regularly. Maze Morton was not a place where crime happened. I don't think I ever came up here apart from for this case.
Hello, what's happening there?
I think she may well have had the similar sort of seizure she had last time.
A seizure?
The person who was here the last time has been here today. So we're concerned that this person may be administering something.
You're concerned that whoever's been in today to see her has possibly given her something?
Yes.
In February 2017, an elderly lady called Anne Martin collapsed at home. She was found by a visitor who quickly called emergency services. Anne Martin was rushed to the hospital by paramedics. And shortly afterwards, I was contacted by her niece. She said, my aunt is in her 80s and she has a very young boyfriend. And she's left her house in her will to her boyfriend. Little did we know that this would be the start of the largest case I've ever investigated.
My name's David James Smith. I'm a journalist and author, and I wrote a book about this case. Anne Martin had been a head teacher in a primary school. She was quite long retired. She'd never married and she'd never had children. Church was very important to her.
My mum and Anne Martin, they became friends through the church. She was like a grandmother to me, and I felt like I was her grandson in many ways. I remember Anne as being a kind and loving person. She had so much love to give to myself, to my mum, to people around her.
The first thing we did was go speak to Anne in the hospital. Anne told me about 2 years ago she'd met a young friend through her neighbour.
Benfield was this quite handsome young man in his early 20s. He seemed like a really genuine, true person. He came from a seemingly very respectable middle-class family. His father was a Baptist minister, and Ben, who became a deputy church warden himself, would occasionally deliver sermons.
Good morning. Can you all hear me? Now, establish in your own mind what good consists of. If what you believe is too odd or distinct from legally enforced norms, this isn't a problem. Live as your conscience dictates and with the consequences.
Over time, the relationship developed from just a casual friendship and became more of a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
Very unusual for a young man in his early 20s to be having sex with a woman aged 81. Benfield essentially love-bombed Anne Moore Martin with letters and notes and really telling her that he was falling in love with her. Anne Moore Martin had this little shrine to Ben. He'd given her a photograph of himself and there was a caption underneath saying, "I am always with you."
My mum mentioned that she was seeing this man who's in her life, but to be honest, none of us really knew much about their relationship.
She was talking on the phone to a friend one day and saying she hadn't been feeling too well, and then she was saying how much Ben had been looking after her, and she said he'd given her a white powder. She said it made her sleep really well, better than anything she'd bought over the counter.
She told me she would quite often wake up and go about her morning routine and see a message on a mirror. Some of these messages were quite explicit.
My mum and I, we came to pick up Anne to take her to church. On the inside of her front door, there was a mirror, and the mirror had this writing on it. The message said, "Save him or be judged for his death. Give him life or he will take it." I took a picture because it struck me as very, very sinister and very threatening, and creepy actually.
One of them said, "Leave the house to Ben. Do not leave it to Anne-Marie, Anne's niece." This seems pretty suspicious to me.
We tried to explain to Anne that this is someone drawing on her mirror. I think she was vulnerable and she had been manipulated. She had been led to believe that the messages on the mirrors were some kind of divine sign from God.
It wasn't just Anne Moore Martin's house that Ben was after. He'd also persuaded her to gift him some quite substantial sums of money. Ben came to her one day very distressed, talked about how his brother had got some terrible kidney condition that required a dialysis machine.
I'm just going to hand you over to
hello. I'm thinking of withdrawing all my accounts, the money held in my account. I have a very dear friend who's the brother of another very dear friend. He is extremely ill. In life, one must not be selfish and keep everything to yourself.
After that, she arranged to give Ben £27,000 for this dialysis machine, which is all, of course, a complete fiction.
While Anne was in hospital, we arrested Ben on suspicion of fraud and administering a noxious substance. When we searched Ben's house, we found sedatives, which could well have been the white powder given to Anne.
The police had the suspicion that he may have been trying to get Anne Moore Martin's house for himself, but Benfield wouldn't admit to anything. So at this stage, there was no evidential basis for charging him.
We had to release him on bail, but on the condition that he stayed away from Anne. Anne's niece had managed to change the will with Anne back to where it was without Ben benefiting. One day, her niece called me and said, Anne's just had another seizure and they don't expect her to live.
When Anne past, things that I thought about more than anything were the times that we had together when I was a child, going to the woods for walks with her dog, going and staying in her house. Yeah, that's how I remember Anne.
She was a very smart, funny woman. It was very sad to see her die.
It wasn't until Anne Moore Martin's death and the police investigation into Ben Field that the police began to have concerns that perhaps Anne Moore Martin wasn't the only person that Ben had harmed.
We were notified of a concern from a local solicitor. And the solicitor said, I've assisted with changing Anne's will to benefit Ben Field. And I remember a couple years ago changing another person's will to benefit Ben Field. We were investigating a double murder for financial gain.
The Ten Commandments. I'm looking for one in particular. What commandment am I thinking of? Thou shalt not kill.
Ambulance emergency. Is the patient breathing unconscious?
Not conscious, no, it's not looking good at all.
Peter? Okay, what's the address there, please?
8 Manor Park, Mates Morton.
The cleaner for Peter Farker arrived at his home and the curtains were drawn in the lounge and he was sitting slumped on the sofa.
She dialed 999 and the ambulance arrived and declared him dead very quickly. The cleaner's next call was to Ben Field. Ben and Peter lived together in Peter's house.
I was coming down the M1 when we got a call from Ben, and it was to say that Peter had died. I just had to say that again. It was shattering news. I said, well, what happened? Oh, it was alcohol poisoning. I said, I can't believe that.
There was a whiskey bottle found on a side table next to Peter. Ben had told police that Peter was 69 years old and had effectively drunk most of a bottle of whiskey, enough to kill someone.
We arrived at the house. We had almost a cheery welcome from Ben. How are you, Ben? Expecting him to be distraught. But no, I'm fine. It was almost as though he didn't have a care in the world. So I went in and I sat with my brother for a little while, just, you know, I just spoke to him, although he wasn't there, just saying that, you know, I thought he'd been a great brother.
I didn't actually go in. I wanted to remember Peter as he was and not sitting dead on the sofa.
Peter Farker was a really quite eminent retired English teacher. He'd worked at two of the best private schools in England, Manchester Grammar School and Stowe, one of the most beautiful schools in England.
I think that the AS is a bad exam, and I do not think that it's right that pupils should be examined in 3 consecutive years.
He was brilliant at making you believe you could do better than you thought. We all came to love and respect him because he always put us first.
After Peter died, I went to see the solicitor about his will and was surprised to find that his house, which was probably worth, I don't know, £200,000 to £300,000, it wasn't a full gift to Ben, but he had the right to stay there as long as he wanted. So I decided that the best thing to do was sell the house and split the proceeds with Ben.
It wasn't really for another 18 months after Peter had died that the police became suspicious of the circumstances of his death.
Senior Investigating Officer for the investigation into the deaths of Peter Parker and Anmore Martin.
This is a really unusual, exceptional case because there was a fly-on-the-wall film crew sitting alongside the police inquiry. They've got this unique, privileged access. While I was writing my book about this case, the documentary was really important in terms of my own understanding of the case and how the investigation unfolded.
It all relates to a little road called Manor Park, which is part of a little village called Maids Morton.
What's really striking is the intent and seriousness of everyone in the room. It's clear that they're going to, pull all the stops out to get a result.
Because of my relationship with Anne, when Thames Valley declared this a major incident investigation, I was seconded along with the case to the major crime team. Very early on, our hypothesis was that Anmore Martin and Peter Parker had been given drugs, made them feel unwell, hallucinate, and ultimately met their demise. But what we needed was the smoking gun. I felt a deep commitment to finding out what had happened to Anne and Peter. We started off by contacting any neighbours, any family members, any friends. I went and spoke with his brother, and one of the first things Ian said was Peter kept a journal, and I have them. All numbered, all chronologically dated, but the last 3 journals were missing.
Everything he did, everywhere he went, was in his journals. And every conversation he had, I looked back and found a time when we'd had a big old argument, and that was there. And in graphic detail.
I have so much to thank God for. But despite my many friends and involvements, there is a black hole where strong emotional relationships should be. I just wish that the Lord would help me through this great constant and intractable difficulty and allow me to live more effectively for him.
Peter was struggling with his sexuality and his loneliness, really. Peter had been seeing a counsellor, and the counsellor decided that he might be better coming to see me as a priest, as a Christian, as a gay man, as a way of integrating his faith and his sexuality together.
He had this one missing element. He wanted to be in love with somebody. He wanted a partner. What we know now, of course, is this was very much part of his vulnerability.
After he'd retired from teaching, he went to Buckingham University and he lectured in poetry.
Gave my lecture on Coleridge at the university in the afternoon. They were unresponsive, except for one clever, enthusiastic lad, Ben Field. He is a delightful young man.
He mentioned to me there was a student there who really is very interesting in terms of talking about poetry, and that was Ben.
For Peter, Ben fitted a kind of fantasy model of the kind of man that he would be attracted to. Ben presented as intellectual, charming, he was bright, he was religious.
When I first met Ben, I thought, he's very young for Peter to be as closely involved as a friendship. And I just wondered if there was something more to it.
His relationship with Ben changed from just being a master to help Ben to a bit more of a relationship going on.
We then drove to Dunkery Beacon. We embraced and hugged each other tightly on that remote, damp, misty hilltop. I felt unbelievably happy, and so clearly did Ben. I had not thought it possible. God is so good to me.
I got an email from Peter telling me that he and Ben wanted to have a betrothal ceremony and asking me if I would be prepared to be part of the service and offer some prayers. It was a private ceremony, it was just the three of us and God. Ben seemed very clear about how he felt about Peter and what he was getting himself into in a relationship with a not much older man. I think that for Peter, the betrothal day with Ben in church before God was probably one of the great highlights of his life.
It was a wonderful moment to cement before God the sharing of our lives, to have this wonderful young man as my life partner until I die. We exchanged the crosses as tokens of love and fidelity.
Once Ben moved in, we didn't really hear so much from Peter.
Peter started complaining about memory loss. He also complained about losing things, which is completely unlike him as well. He just found that he was getting visions. He'd suddenly see, he described it as blobs floating in front of him. He was worried that it could be a form of dementia.
He ended up going to hospital because he had falls down the stairs, bruised face. He was deteriorating quite a lot. A lot of time he spent up in bed, which was not like Peter at all.
I feel I am so dependent. It's such a strange world, that whole thing, because on the one hand, I'm actually used to be sort of competent.
Of course.
Ben filmed this clip of Peter propped up in bed, and he seems really confused. It just looks like he's really very seriously ill.
I was suspicious of something going on, and in the whole thing, I felt this relationship with Ben, there was something false about it.
It's a very poignant part of this story that Peter Farker went out and bought a double bed for the first time in his life to make room for Ben. And Ben was also now having a sexual relationship with Peter's 81-year-old neighbour, Anne Martin.
We suspected Peter hadn't died a natural death. So we needed to carry out a second autopsy. There's no other option at that point than to exhume his body.
It's not a very straightforward process, setting about an exhumation. You need permission from the Church of England, and of course the police wanted the permission of Peter's family.
They persuaded me that they would be able to get some evidence because they'd be able to examine Peter's body. And I wasn't, well, who would be happy with that? But by then I was convinced that Ben had been involved in this, and I thought I want to get him found out for this.
While this was all going on, Ben was still living at Peter's house. If Ben found out that we had dug Peter up and conducted a second autopsy, he would know that we were looking into his death. So we had an operation to secretly exhume Peter's body in the middle of the night.
One of the things which is very difficult about exhumations is that you don't know what condition the body is in, but I knew as soon as I saw Peter's body laying there inside the coffin that we were going to be able to get some evidence from him.
It's really unusual for there to be an exhumation in a murder case, and then it's even more unusual for the camera to be inside the pathologist's room as the post-mortem's taking place.
Can you get another pot ready? A bigger one? Because I think we've still got stomach content. When they were filming me, I was really kind of taken aback by the fact there was still stomach contents present.
I didn't smell a whiskey.
I can smell alcohol in it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really extraordinary to see this vital moment in the investigation as the autopsy, the post-mortem takes place, the second post-mortem on Peter's exhumed remains.
The stomach content was analysed, and this showed the alcohol level to be 277 milligrams per decilitre. Now that isn't a level which can cause death on its own, so there must have been something else which caused his death. Thank you. Right, so hair. Very well preserved, very well preserved.
The camera crew are there sensitively covering the recovery of important evidence that will assist the police investigation.
When you take a medication, those drugs are interred into your hair. So the hair can be analysed to see not only what drugs you've been exposed to, but also when you may have been exposed to them. A bit like the rings in a tree stump. When the hair sample was recovered, it was submitted to a very specialist laboratory in France. But because of the nature of the examination, that whole process takes months.
The police were really on tenterhooks because they might finally get some answers as to what exactly had been going on in the last months of Peter's life.
This case was all about building the picture, putting the puzzles together. Amazingly, the police officer who attended Peter's death seized the glass that was on the floor next to him, and we found Ben's fingerprint on the inside of the glass. That really does suggest that Ben was there at the time Peter had died. Even though we were still waiting on the results of the hair analysis, we had enough evidence at that point to rearrest Ben, this time on suspicion of murder.
Benfield, it's the police, come to the door! Freeze! Hey, police! New room clear!
When Ben heard the knock of police on the door, he jumped out the back window.
Please take the door!
We found Ben half-dressed in a garden shed, hiding from police. I think it shows a guilty conscience.
What's your first name, please?
Benjamin.
Benjamin. So, primary offence, murder, was it?
Murder, yeah, thank you.
He knows the cameras are there watching him. His reaction to being accused of murder is really like he's, in a doctor's waiting room or something.
I'm expecting this will be a dull time. Do you have any kind of books or stuff lying around that I could...
We'll certainly have a look to see what sort of there's to read, yeah. So brilliant. That's absolutely fine.
It is heartrending To see him acting like that when he's just been charged with murder, it was just, unbelievable.
He's the most extraordinary person I've come across in years of reporting and writing about crime. He had this psychopathic arrogance about him. He's not your average person to be in a custody suite being accused of murder.
So what I'd like to do first of all is get you to introduce yourself, please.
Okay, I'm Benjamin Lukefield.
Are you happy to be called Ben?
Ben is certainly better than Benjamin.
Benjamin has made a statement. I, Benjamin Field, did not murder Anne Moore Martin, nor did I have any involvement in her death. I did not murder Peter Farquhar, nor did I have any involvement in his death. I do not wish to answer any questions at this stage.
He didn't want to give any account to anything. He didn't want to assist the police in any way, shape or form. Ben thought he could beat the system.
The police were aware that some of Peter's journals were missing. They suspected that Ben might have taken them to hide evidence. So they searched his flat for them, and no doubt the presence of the film crew put them under extra pressure to find them.
Oh, they look like Peter's journals. I recognise Peter's writing, and then it's got Christmas Eve 2014 to 6th of June 2015.
We found the last 3 journals Peter had written that were missing from his collection. One of the big questions we had was, did they contain evidence that he'd been drugged by Ben, he'd been poisoned, anything that could help us prove that Ben had killed Peter. Reading Peter's last 3 journals, we saw a huge decline in his well-being. More and more episodes of hallucinations and tiredness.
One of the most awful days of my life. I wanted to die. I saw hideous packs of black insects. Seriously questioning my faith over the past fortnight, I pray, but no one seems to be listening. I have even doubted God's existence.
I asked him the question, where do you feel God is in all of this? And Peter's response to me at the time was, if he's there, he wouldn't let this happen to me.
It wasn't just Peter's journals that the police found when they went to Ben's home. They also found his own writings. There were diaries, sheets of paper on which he'd written copious notes. It would take the police weeks to decipher.
Ben had detailed his abuse of Peter for quite a long period of time. Peter has documented his symptoms from being poisoned. And the same date, Ben documented where he gave a certain amount of drugs to Peter in his toast.
Breakfast in bed. 2.5 milligrams Diclaz in toast.
Ben made up for yesterday by giving me breakfast in bed. I have been feeling tired and lethargic for a few weeks now. He has been so kind and imaginative.
Between the 2 sets of writings, we were able to join the dots, correlate the dates, and create a parallel timeline between the 2, detailing systematic abuse and torture Ben was inflicting on Peter.
And next to Peter's name, he's put a grave.
I understand, picture of a gravestone.
Hole's the goal. That's the goal, to get him in the hole, get him dead.
Picture of a gravestone.
Because I haven't seen this for a while, it's come back as a bit of a memory jogger. So the fact that he'd written all this down, what he was going to do to Peter and how he's going to end it, it's heartbreaking.
On the face of it, Ben is this very, very clever, conniving, deceiving character, and yet The documentary shows he has really very stupidly given the police all the evidence they need.
And then there's time scale, 2014, cordial Peter, and then 2015, end Peter.
When Ben was arrested, one of the things we seized was his phone. We've discovered photos of the messages that Ben had written to Anne Moore Martin on her mirrors.
Is that you in that picture there?
No comment.
Tell me about that message, Ben.
No comment.
Tell me if you wrote it.
No comment.
The police are confident that Ben is responsible for killing Peter and harming Anne, but Ben's refusal to answer questions, his refusal to make any admissions, makes it quite difficult for the police.
With what we found in Ben's possession, we were close, but a lot of what we knew was circumstantial. We did not have enough evidence to charge him at this point. So, heartbreakingly for us in the investigation, we had to bail him again.
The day the hair analysis report came back was really important because the French laboratory was able to identify that Peter had been exposed to diclazepam. It's a drug originally created in the 1970s as an alternate drug for treatment of depression and anxiety. So you'll have the sleepiness, you'll have the discoordination, you'll have the hallucinations. All of those symptoms would have been attributed to this diclazepam, which was being given to Peter without his knowledge. But the hair analysis on its own didn't explain the reason why Peter died. When I re-examined the video footage from the scene, what I could clearly see was when Peter was found deceased on the sofa, next to him was an extremely large pillow. My conclusion was that Peter had been plied with alcohol, and then Ben would have taken that opportunity to take the pillow and he would have used that to smother Peter in his sleep.
It was at that point of the investigation where we had the last pieces of the puzzle that we needed to seek a conviction. And in the end, there wasn't just one thing, but what we were able to do is put everything together, and forensics played a big part in that. In November 2018, we rearrested Ben.
Is this a bail check?
No, it's not a bail check.
Right.
Ben, you're going to be under arrest
Just trying to
on
see if it's
suspicion of murder of Peter Farker. Okay?
We charged him with the murder of Peter Farker and the attempted murder of Anne Moore Martin.
Ben Field admits to having been cruel and malicious, of misleading both Peter Farquhar and Anne Moore Martin, but he denies planning to kill them.
He swaggered up to the box and, just thought, you think you're going to get away with this? I wanted to go up and right through the court and plant one on his face because he was such a arrogant, unkind, nasty man.
Justice Sweeney described the death of Peter Farquhar as a murder for gain. The 36-year jail sentence is one of the longest ever to be handed out in the Thames Valley.
It is 4 years, less a week, since my brother Peter was murdered. His murderer, Ben Field, is a deeply malevolent and thoroughly evil man.
I was really happy that he was put away. But on the other hand, I couldn't help but feeling really sad that this could have been avoided.
I feel comfort that we found a way to convict him for what he did. It's hard to call something a success where you don't get to save people. So, bittersweet, really.
I do feel guilty because I was encouraging Peter to be open to relationships, and the first person that he thought he could have a relationship with murdered him.
Older people are vulnerable. They become attractive to nasty people who are looking for an easy way to get to their ends. You should watch out for old people because you could stop what happened to my brother.